All right, next up, we have Phillip Kobernick. He is with the County of Alameda. He is the Logistics Service Manager, overseeing the vehicle fleet, parking division, commuter program, messenger service, and property and salvage team. For the past 6 years, Phillip has focused on sustainable transportation operations, growing the county's electric vehicle fleet, and supporting infrastructure and further developing an employee commuter program. I've seen Phillip kind of speak a couple of times. What he's done or what they've done in the County of Alameda, especially with respect to their EV charging program, has been phenomenal and kind of a model that I think I've preached to my parking unit as well to follow. So very glad to have you. Please help me welcome him up.
So I think there was a few fleet folks in the audience. So the folks not in the fleet world, how many folks are kind of in the industry, so to speak? So, show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And other folks are generally interested in EVs and advanced vehicles? Show of hands. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. So I'm going to be talking about some of the things that we're doing as a vehicle fleet in the San Francisco Bay Area, and some of the programs that we're doing on transitioning to EVs and smart charging. Whoop, there we go. All right, so sorry to lead with some wonky graphs, but just to give a little bit of context of kind of our vehicle fleet and what we do, because county operations are, for the most part, kind of more behind the scenes thing than a lot of city operations, but we're pretty big. So Alameda County, we have 10,000 employees, and I oversee 1,300 vehicles, 1,300 odd-run vehicles. So it's a lot of stuff. We go through almost 600,000 gallons of gas a year in terms of our annual consumption, and we're working to bring that down as soon as we can. So we started investing in EVs in 2012, 2013, around there. Now we've installed over 150 EV charging stations, including our first level 3 charger about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And we now do about 15,000 recorded EV charge events per year. I say recorded because we do a lot that just disappear into the ether, because we always buy EVs faster than we buy charging stations. So at our main fleet center in Oakland, when I leave at like 6:30 or so at night, before the thing closes down, there's cars plugged into outlets, there's cars with wires all over each other plugging into whatever they can. And so when you're plugging into the wall, you're just not recording any of that data. So this is what we get from our smart chargers, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in the ether. But so we're going through a lot. We have just under 100 EVs right now, and that's after a few phases, and we're hoping to significantly ramp that up more over the next few years. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about smart charging, because this is something that we really we sprinted right into a wall with this. So when we installed our first level 3 charger, we definitely escalated this problem, but it really even happened with level 2s. So this graph here is cost of electricity per day over our main Oakland fleet center, which has 37 EV charging stations, 36 level 2s and 1 level 3. Does anybody not know what I mean when I say level 3 charger? It's okay. Okay, all right, thank you. So quick primer. So there's sort of 3 different levels of EV charging: level 1, level 2, level 3. A helpful metaphor that I've heard is, let's say your goal is to fill like a little swimming pool in your backyard, like a kid's pool or something like that. Level 1 would be like using your kitchen sink. Level 2 would be like using a garden hose, and level 3 would be like opening up a fire hydrant to fill that thing. Okay, so this graph is showing cost per day. The orange one is just the actual cost of the electricity, which you'll see is pretty flat throughout the year. The blue are the demand charges. So that's what commercial ratepayers pay in PG&E territory. That's in addition to just like the electrons coming into the car, that's just the fee for turning the station on. So it'd be like, if you were in a gas car, you put 15 gallons of gas in your car, and then you paid an extra $30 just to get the handle, just to pick the handle up. That's what a demand charge is. And in the summer, they're incredibly significant. So for us, in the summer, it's over half our bill, which we were not really anticipating. So to give you context on that, when our level 3 charger turns on at a really bad time, it could cost over $2,000. So that's when we as fleet operators start to take a look at this and be like, okay, we can't just, I mean, we want to get off gas, that's the main goal, but we also have to make sure that we're doing it in a smarter way than just installing stuff left and right and then running things whenever we can. It's a pretty fundamental shift when you're fuel switching from gas to electric, and it requires a lot more kind of understanding than just throwing gas in the car. So we've been really taking a look at this a lot over the last couple of years. So here's an example. Those demand charges, what you don't want to see are spikes at your energy usage. You know, if you're kind of going along like this and all of a sudden you turn on 15 cars at once and your energy load just whoop, goes way up, that's where energy demand charges kick in, and that's what really hurts the total cost of ownership argument for fleet operators. So we partnered with some charging station provider that we're using and a startup to kind of develop some custom smart charging for us. And so this is what it looked like before. This is just a bunch of vehicles at our main fleet center plugging in. You know, normally the staff kind of plugs them in when they get back, and you'll see some big spikes. These are daily peaks in our fleet facility. And through smart charging, by basically saying, we're going to take a bunch of chargers and then not turn them on right away. We're going to stagger them throughout the middle of the night in a way that works for my staff. So they'll plug them in, and then that charging station waits until 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. They kind of stagger, and then they'll start turning on. So we went from those scary-looking peaks, to this, flatter. That's what we want to see. So it's kind of a challenge because we want to be using a lot more energy because we're using a lot less gas, but we really want to be using them in a way that is the most cost-efficient way for us. So again, instead of giant peaks, we're making plateaus, and that's been a real help for us in terms of mitigating those charges. I think that's actually okay. So that's what I wanted to focus on today. All right, thanks.